reading this book called Attorney for the Damned, a book of cases by Clarence Darrow. That's going to be our topic for the day. So, Clarence Darrow was a famous lawyer who, from Kinsman, Ohio, and was involved with many famous cases. One of his most famous cases was here in Chicago. It was, what happened was, these two boys murdered this younger boy who, then they just did it just to kill him. And these boys' names were Nathan Leopold and Richard Loeb. Well, Clarence Darrow agreed to defend these two boys, even though they were really rich, and he had his reputation by defending poor people, which was a little weird for Clarence Darrow. And he claims that he did not do it for the money, which is true, but he did it because he wanted to save them from the death penalty. He was against the death penalty, but he especially did it for these two kids because they were kids. The whole country was paying attention to this trial. They were looking at the transcripts on the newspaper, and they're just paying attention, and they're so involved. Clarence Darrow's closing arguments influenced the way people thought about the death penalty at his time and the way we think about them today. In order to learn more about this, we're going to interview three people. First one being Clarence Darrow himself, using his own words during the trial. The second person I'm going to interview is Harvey Grossman, the legal director of the ACLU of Illinois. Finally, I'll be interviewing Paul Rockland, an attorney who wrote a brief opposing the juvenile death penalty to the U.S. Supreme Court. Hi, I'm going to be interviewing Clarence Darrow. Mr. Darrow, why did you take the case of Leopold and Loeb? I mean, you knew that they killed the boy.
Well, Saul, the two boys were in the shadow of the gallows. Their confessions had been made. Their families were in the depths of despair. And they came to me to assist with the lawyers they had already chosen. I was in a terrible fix. The thing they had done was very bizarre, and the press was uniformly against them. I wanted to help the boys, but I didn't know what I should do. But Saul, I went in to do what I could in the name of sanity and humanity against the wave of malice and hatred that was masquerading, as usual, in the name of justice.
Thank you. To the next question. So, what were your goals in taking on this case?
Well, Saul, no client of mine has ever been put to death, and I felt that it should almost kill me if that should ever happen. I have never even been able to read the story of an execution, and when there's a hanging, I always leave town. I am strongly, call it morbidly if you will, against killing.
On to the next question. So, what was your strategy during the case?
Well, Saul, we knew that seldom, if ever, had a case been handled like this one. This was a very unusual case. And everyone had already made up their minds about it. Everybody wanted the boys dead. And we wanted everyone to have a chance to cool. We wanted a delay so that the passions could cool out. We never even tried for an insanity defense. We felt that our only hope would be to prove the mental condition of the boys was not normal, not that they were insane, but they weren't like any other boys. And we felt that that would be our only hope in preventing them from being murdered.
Yeah, and that proved to be an effective strategy. So the next question is, what did you think of the boys personally?
Well, Solly, Dickie Loeb is a good-natured, friendly boy. Now, I realize that most people will not be able to understand this, let alone believe it. But Dickie Loeb was not only a kindly-looking boy, but he was and is a kindly boy. He was never too busy to personally do a favor for anyone who he chanced to know. There was no reason why he should spend the rest of his life in prison, except for this one deed he did, this strange and unfortunate circumstance. And otherwise, if this hadn't occurred, there's no reason he wouldn't have had a normal life like you or me. Leopold had not the slightest instinct towards what we are pleased to call crime. He had and has the most brilliant mind of anyone I have ever known. At 18, he acquired 9 or 10 languages. He was an advanced botanist, an ornithologist, and he loved good books. He was often invited to lecture at clubs and other assemblies, and he was genial, kindly, and likable. His father was wealthy, and this son of his was his great pride. Everyone prophesied an uncommon career for this gifted lad. He is now in prison for life for the most foolish and motiveless act that has ever been conceived in a diseased brain by his boon companion.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, they're so brilliant. I mean, why would they do that?
Why, Saul, did these two boys commit this rash and horrible crime? Why, I suspect they themselves know less than those who have spent a lot of time studying them. There are many things that human beings cannot fully understand. And of all the most fathomable things that confront the human mind, the most baffling is the human mind itself.
Thank you, Mr. Darrow, for taking the time to answer my questions.
Well, Saul, it's been my pleasure, and good luck with your project. And I'm glad that you are doing it, and it's giving you an opportunity to think about how justice really is best served.
Now we'll look at Clarence Darrow's contributions from a different perspective. So, I'm going to be interviewing Harvey Grossman from the ACLU. So, Harvey, what was Darrow's contributions to the civil liberties?
Darrow's contributions to civil liberty were varied and profound. He did so many different things and was such a key figure in terms of persuading the courts and changing public opinion about individual rights, from free speech to the death penalty to protecting the downtrodden and recognizing society's rights to care for all individuals, that it's really hard to encapsulate that in just a few moments. I think what one can say is that from his participation in the Scopes trial to his anti-death penalty work, his closing argument in the Leopold and Loeb trials, that those are really monumental events in the development of modern civil liberties philosophies in our country.
In what ways did Clarence Darrow's arguments influence the way we think?
I think that while Darrow was philosophically opposed as a matter of principle to the death penalty, that he was able to put together arguments that everyday people could understand. And one of the primary ones, and one that is utilized today frequently, is that the death penalty really isn't a deterrence.